It is a known fact that for us as human beings, without knowing what has shaped our community, our country, and us as individuals, we have a reduced sense of identity. Without an efficient documentation of our heritage in the form of archives, our knowledge of communities, our families, and the built environment will be poor. Hence, record keeping remains a very important aspect of living, as it helps enhance our knowledge of who we are and equally serves as a reference point for us. Being aware of the importance of these, even in formulation of government policies, Lagos State looked inwards and in living up to our slogan as the center of excellence, conceived the establishment of the Lagos State Records and Archives Bureau, Lasrab, in 1995 as part of its public sector reform program for better management of the state's records for planning, policy processing, enhanced service delivery, and heritage preservation. Lasrab formally came into legal existence as a state government agency pursuant to Law 22 of 2007 and took off administratively on the 1st of August 2008, but started effective operation on 1st of December 2008. Saddled with the responsibility and committed to safely store away and make for easy retrieval records and information that are of historical value to the state, the Bureau has maintained this and lots more. Lasrab is the first of its kind in Nigeria and as a pace setter is the new phase of archives in Nigeria. It has since remained a reference point even beyond record keeping, but also in education. The Bureau is known as a societal memory keeper that has helped bridge the information gap and serves as information bank of all government ministries and parastatals, while it continues to interface with relevant stakeholders on the importance of records keeping in the state and the society at large. With Mr. Biodun Onoyele steering the wheel of leadership, innovations are being introduced so as to continually meet up with the Bureau's aims and objectives.
What are the objectives of Lasrab?
Our objectives can be divided into 3 or 4 things. For one, which is bridging information gap. And we do that by ensuring that accurate records get to the people, okay, with minimum discomfort, at minimum cost, okay, and as quickly as possible. The other reason for setting up this place is what we call societal memory. You know, we house what we call the societal memory of this, of people of Lagos, and we do this by ensuring that we keep records and archives of the achievements, of the culture, of the history, of the initiative, of the people and entities of Lagos, and that of the development partner. So we're kind of what they call societal memory keeping. And of course, the other part we also do is, of course, to assist government in taking right decisions by providing background information that will assist them in policy decision making and policy, and objectives of the government. Another reason for setting us up again is also to ensure that at any point in time, anybody that wants to do anything about Lagos State, does not have to move around different MDAs. We're more like a one-stop shop, a warehouse where people can come to and get the information about Lagos, anything about Lagos, without necessarily depositing too much energy.
You said, while talking, you mentioned the policy decision making of the government. How?
Making decisions require data, require background information, so you can take informed decisions. And one of the things we do is to provide such for MDAs, because MDAs are vehicles through which the government achieves its programs. So MDAs come in here, even the House of Assembly, come to us for information sometimes before certain laws are passed. So we provide information for them. For example, when they were going to have the seal of Lagos, they needed information about it. When they were going to pass the law on preservation of heritage, the Kenya, we provided them with some information about heritage sites in Lagos.
For a country like Nigeria, where we don't keep statistics, we don't keep records, I mean, it's really a challenge for the country as a whole. So what makes Lasrab reliable?
Reliability, or what we call record integrity, is essential. The documents we have are primarily sourced. That is, there's the documents that have not been treated, they have not been tampered with, because we get them straight from the MDAs. For example, because one of our mandates is to go to MDAs and get from them information about Lagos State and keep. We are more like a data bank where people can fall back, even the MDAs, we act as a data bank for them, where they can come to when they have issues with their own records in their offices. Now, since we are getting first-hand information from these MDAs untreated, for example, Ministry of Information will print programs, we print journals, we do bulletin and all those things about their achievements and their programs. We collect such things, okay? And because they are primary source, the integrity is high. They have not been treated, they have not been doctored. The agencies are presenting things that they claim they have done, okay? And because of that, the integrity is still very much intact. It is when information is treated, it goes through various forms of analysis that there can be distortions in them.
You mentioned MDAs, the state government. Does Lasrab actually extend its services to the larger public? Do you keep records apart from government agencies? Do you keep records for the larger public?
Yes, anything that concerns Lagos State is what we are concerned about. Any information that relates to Lagos State is what we are concerned about, right? And of course, we source for this from MDAs, we source for this from local governments, we source from this from traditional leaders, we source for it from individuals and companies that are operating in Lagos, and by virtue of that, they've been operating in Lagos, they have information about Lagos State in their custody. So our source of information is wide and varied. Okay, we have the private, we have the public sector source, and we have the private sector source. In fact, the private sector source can be divided into three. We have the organized private sector, people like Manufacturing Association of Nigeria, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Then we have the multilateral system reports from places like WHO, World Bank, all these reports that concerns Lagos, we cut from them. So you can look at the integrity of these people. You know that whatever World Bank is going to give to you must contain, has a lot of integrity involved in it. And of course, we source also from what we call organized institutions, like professional bodies, when they have documents, when they have information, and when we feel that they have information that concerns Lagos, we go to them. Mind you, our area of focus is just Lagos State, not Nigeria. But there is no way, in getting information about Lagos State that sometimes you don't have to, dovetail into other parts of the country. But our primary focus is Lagos State.
Lasrab came into existence a few years back. What did we look at and realize that, hey, we need to keep our records, we need to do this?
The person that does not know where it's coming from, if you don't have a history, you can have a future. And one of the things that brought about the establishment of Lasrab was the need to create a database, a warehouse, where information about Lagos State can be gotten, where developments, where initiatives, where heritage, culture of Lagos State can be warehoused and protected from extinction. Okay, and of course we came on board because we noticed that in Nigeria there is a dearth of information on government activities, on individuals in the environment, on even the activities of the people as a whole, and of course learning from the mistakes of the past. We started to put, Lagos State government started to put things straight. Lasrab was conceived to address the shortcoming noticed in the Nigerian environment and indeed in Africa about record keeping.
What services do you provide here? Does the Bureau provide?
We do what we call the reference services. And by reference services, we mean that people can come in here and request for information, right, which we provide to them. They make use of our reference library, right? And of course, they make use of our search room. So that is one primary objective of this place, where people can come in and ask questions and sit down and read, because here our materials are not taken out. You have to use them here and you leave them here. Unlike normal libraries where you can borrow books and all that, here you cannot do that. So provide reference services for people who are researchers, filmmakers, who want to find out what Lasrab is all about. Then of course we also have historical talks and excursions. So we allow tertiary institutions in Lagos, secondary school in Lagos, organizations in Lagos, individuals in Lagos who want to know about Lagos. They're coming here for what we can call a facility visit, right? And during that course of facility visits, they go around our facilities. On our walls, we find pictures of old Lagos, different aspects of Lagos adorning our walls. They see those ones, and after all that, after the moving around, we put them in our conference room or training room, depending on the number, or our hall, and we give them a talk on the history of Lagos. So we'll do that. Of course, we do what we call heritage preservation, right? And to do that, we have the mini museums downstairs, where different aspects of our culture and our heritage are displayed there for people to come and see, right? And we also have we have what we call an art gallery, where we have artworks displayed there, right? And we do exhibitions too. And those exhibitions, we do them when Lagos State government is holding an important event, or when we have important personalities coming around, or probably when organizations too have foreigners coming into the organization and they want to let them have have a feel of what Lagos State is all about. So we organize exhibitions, and our exhibitions usually are based on old Lagos and new Lagos, so people can see have an idea of the developments that are taking place and understand better. And of course, we do record survey, and this is our primary function. And we do this by going to MDAs, going to local governments, going to organizations where we feel that the records of Lagos State are domiciled, and we look at the records they have and find those, and sift out, select those that we feel have archival value and bring them here, okay? And those that are still currently used on what we call records, we tell them how to manage them, how to preserve them, so that they're not, so that they don't get spots, okay? And of course, we also assist in disaster management.
Looking at the way the world is moving, everything is going technology, And what that means is that if I need information about a particular MD, I can easily go to their website. I don't need to come to Lasrab. How do you plan to bridge this gap? 1 and 2. What's your plan towards moving towards them being IT compliant?
And first, I must say that any archival institution what is taught, okay, runs on ICT. ICT is the vehicle through which any archival institution, And we're talking about electronic documents, you find that electronic document is a recent development. We still have some records that are in paper form. Okay, so there's no way you can run away from that. Even if you are doing some of your things on email now, you still have to go back to some of this, and that is the essence of archives. Archives are records that are old, but they have enduring value, which may be administrative, may be legal, the economic and all that. And of course, one of the things we are doing here is to digitize some of these documents. By digitizing them, it means that we put them in electronic form for people to access. But you see, the difference between a record, an archive institution and any institution is that whatever records you need from there, you still have to come to that place to get them. Okay, so we are already prepared for that. Here we have our own website. The ultimate, and which we're working on, is that to put online what we call our simple list, which is a list of the documents we have in our custody. So before you come here, you can look at those things on our website and see, whether we have those things there before you make the journey down here. Because as I told you earlier on, you still have to come to archives. You cannot stay in your house and access all that information. And of course, like you said, yes, people are going electronic and all that, but not all documents can, not all documents can be electronic form. We still have to go back to those that are, and that is the essence of having this digitization thing on ground.
As a pit setter, I don't want to refer to it as an industry, as a pit setter in records keeping in Nigeria, what are you putting in place to continually being ahead of others? Because definitely anything good, people want to imitate. And I'm sure you've had visits from other people, other states that they want to have something like this in the state. Now, what are the things? How do you plan to remain ahead of others?
We have to be current. We have to keep apace with developments in the environment. We have to make sure that at any point in time we don't rest on our laurels. For now, they will tell you that Lagos State Records and Archives is the new face of archives in Nigeria. But we are already looking beyond that, because the success of yesterday is no more, it's not relevant today. I just told you the issue of organizing training for archivists and record managers. Before now, no institution of government is doing that, and for very, very few, and to do that, it means that there must be a lot of partnership, okay? And of course, again, we're looking at one of the ways to also develop, to also be ahead, is to engender in people the importance of keeping records and the importance of archives, right? You'll find that, even in higher institutions where it's considered to be citadels of knowledge, the number of people that read history is getting extinct. We're now trying that one of the things we're trying to do is to make sure that at any point in time, history students, are made to understand, they are made to believe in themselves and to know that they are doing a course that is worth their while, that is recognized and internationally acclaimed. We will continue to do that. At any point in time, we have never seen ourselves as, arriving, and Lagos being the center of excellence. There is always a challenge, always a challenge for us to overcome. We're doing that. I told you earlier on, there is no record cadre, records officer cadre in the whole federation. No record officer cadre. Yes, they have archivists, but they don't have records officer cadre, and this is key. That's another way of making sure that we are ahead. Once we're able to get this on track, of course, we have to eliminate us.
And now let's look at the challenges. That's apart from funding. What challenges do you face here?
First is people's orientation and culture about records. On average, person sees papers as a pest, and mainly or unknowingly they destroy records. So we have that challenge of making people know that not all papers, right? Not all pictures, not all newspapers can be destroyed. We also have the issue of trust. The issue of trust, people feel that, well, when we give you these documents, they can be used against us. Why do you need that data? Why do you need that information? So we also have that problem of trust from people. Then of course we also have this problem of people, putting money above things like this. Sometimes you come across people who have some of these things in their cost and tell you want to sell it. I'm not ready to give it to you free of charge. And when you ask them for how much, they say, you're a government agency. You should be able to give us million. They don't even ask for 100 or 1,000. So we also have that problem. So basically, I can say the problem we have can be traced to culture and attitude of the people, which gradually is changing.
Now, do you carry out any form of enlightenment? You go to somebody, the person has a material that you think will be useful for the larger public at the end of the day, and the person wants to sell it. Do you carry out enlightenment to actually tell people that at the end of the day, even your generation will benefit if you give us this thing? How do you enlighten people to let them know the importance?
One of the things we do here is that when you donate things to us, your name is, apart from the fact that we acknowledge that you are, it's given to us by you, we write your, we write you a letter. Apart from that, we're trying to create a hall of fame where people's names and what they have donated will be, will be displayed, so they can know. So even the children, the grandchildren and all that come, they will know that those things were donated by their folks. Also, it's because they don't understand the importance of culture. The development we have now has distant people from their roots until that culture changes, and that's what we're trying to do. The few people who have visited us, visited our library, visited this environment, have been so moved. So, and of course, you find them there volunteering, to you there that, okay, I have this, I will give it to you. So through our exhibitions, we have been able to reach out, to people. And of course, one of the things again we do is we do research. We do a lot of research. We've done one now for Ishere Olofi. And of course, doing that, we interface with them, the local chiefs and the urbans and all that. And we ask them to donate to this institution, things in their custody that they feel that we should preserve for them. We have a place here called the Morgue. It's where we keep histories of important families in Lagos. As a matter of fact, we're now encouraging agencies, we're now encouraging traditional rulers, families in Lagos to write their histories and come and keep it. So even for the generations to come, since that story is written by them, and signed by the Olori Ebis and all that, so it is authentic. So, some families have done this. I think Ojoria is one of those families that have responded. So these are some of the ways of, reawakening in people the importance of giving records to us, because now they are beginning to see that, if they don't do this, they're likely to lose their past, and the present generation is really not interested in some of these things if they are not documented. Another thing we discovered is that history is no more taught in schools, and that's a big challenge. We talk about patriotism now. We talk about decadence in society. We always have that when people don't have role models, when people don't have culture, when people they've forgotten their past. It's in the past, a child is not nurtured by the parents alone. It's nurtured by the whole environment. That is our culture. Respect is paramount. In the past, you find that you are not living for yourself alone, but you are living for your community. All that is disappearing. In the past, there's always someone to look up to. At the time it was the teachers, then at the time it was lawyers, and all that. But all those now, they are missing. And that is because we don't teach history. We don't tell our children who our unsung heroes are. I call them unsung because we're not talking about them. People who have fought, labored for us to enjoy what we're doing now. And so part of the pictures we keep here are pictures of people like that. And when we have exhibitions, we are able to tell them their contribution to the development of this environment. And that is why one of the things we want to really do is to encourage institutions to teach history, so that we can, we can start teaching our children how to be patriotic, how to love their country, how to believe in their country, and now, of course, all have to be useful to themselves and the environment.
What do you have to tell the citizens of Lagos State?
Lagos is ours, and we all have to do all that we need to do. We need to support this government to deliver the goodies that they promised us. We need to also support agencies like ours, to preserve our culture so we don't go into extinction. We need to do our duties by paying our tax regularly. And this place is for them. It's for them. Come. See what Lagos State was. See what Lagos State is. And see where Lagos State is going.
With all these, saying that record keeping is as important as education will only be stating the obvious. Beyond that, preserving our root and heritage as a state will help give us, Lagosians, a sense of belonging, to enhance our knowledge of communities, families, and the built environment, and also aid generations yet unborn.